The Middle East, a cradle of civilization, is a region profoundly shaped by ancient histories, empires, and religious movements. Its story is etched in stone, written in ancient texts, and whispered through generations. But the past is not the only defining factor. Modern rivalries, fueled by political ambitions, economic interests, and ideological clashes, add layers of complexity to this already intricate region. At the heart of these rivalries lies the complex and volatile Israel-Iran conflict. This antagonism is a key to understanding much of the instability and geopolitical maneuvering in the Middle East. These two regional powers, each with its own distinct vision for the future of the Middle East, are locked in a bitter struggle for dominance and influence. This struggle rarely manifests as open warfare, a direct military confrontation. Instead, it plays out via proxy wars, with both nations supporting different factions and groups across the region to advance their interests. It also involves covert operations, clandestine activities designed to undermine the other side without triggering a full-scale conflict. And it's fueled by fierce rhetoric, a constant barrage of accusations and threats that further inflame tensions. Their ongoing rivalry has far-reaching consequences, impacting global security by creating instability and uncertainty in a strategically vital region. It also affects energy markets, given the Middle East's crucial role in global oil and gas production. Ultimately, the Israel-Iran conflict influences the balance of power far beyond their borders, shaping international relations and geopolitical alliances across the globe. It's a surprising fact that decades ago, Israel and Iran were unlikely partners, finding common ground in a region rife with conflict. They were united by shared interests, primarily a desire to counter the influence of powerful Arab states in the region. However, this alliance was not destined to last. Political upheaval, specifically the Iranian Revolution of 1979, dramatically altered the landscape. This single event transformed this once promising alliance into deep-seated hostility, setting the stage for the conflict we see today. Today, a central point of contention in the conflict centers on Iran's nuclear ambitions, which Israel views as an existential threat. Another key factor is its unwavering support for groups like Hezbollah in Lebanon, a powerful militia that poses a direct threat to Israel's northern border. And Hamas, the militant group controlling the Gaza Strip, which has been responsible for numerous attacks against Israel. Furthermore, their opposing roles in regional wars, such as the Syrian civil war, have deepened the divide and intensified the conflict. This is a shadow war, a conflict fought in the shadows, away from the glare of conventional warfare. It's unpredictable, dangerous, a powder keg that could ignite at any moment. And it's primarily fought through intermediaries, using proxy forces and regional allies to wage war by other means. For Iran, Israel is viewed as an illegitimate outpost of Western influence in the Middle East, an obstacle to its regional ambitions. Conversely, for Israel, Iran is seen as a dangerous and expansionist regime bent on its destruction, a threat that must be contained at all costs. With diplomacy nearly impossible, given the deep-seated mistrust and animosity, both nations remain trapped in a cycle of confrontation, a dangerous game with potentially catastrophic consequences. To truly understand today's complex and volatile tensions in the Middle East, we must look back at the key events, turning points, and historical forces that have shaped this enduring and consequential rivalry. The Israel-Iran relationship wasn't always hostile. Before 1979, they were strategic allies. Iran, under the Shah, recognized Israel and cooperated on military and intelligence matters. The 1979 Iranian Revolution changed everything, replacing the Shah with an anti-Israel Islamic Republic. Iran soon helped create Hezbollah, escalating indirect conflict. In the 2000s, Iran's nuclear program became a major concern for Israel, fueling covert operations and cyber attacks. The Syrian civil war brought their rivalry to new fronts, with Iran positioning forces near Israel's borders. What began as a pragmatic partnership devolved into ideological warfare and global security crises. The stakes have only grown, drawing in world powers and raising the risk of catastrophic conflict. For nearly 30 years after 1948, Israel and Iran quietly cooperated. Both were non-Arab states facing hostile Arab neighbors, leading to deep military, intelligence, and economic ties. Israel provided expertise, Iran supplied vital oil. Their alliance, built on mutual interests, was the cornerstone of Israel's periphery doctrine. But this partnership was fragile, unpopular among many Iranians, and entirely dependent on the Shah's regime. The seeds of future conflict were already present, waiting for a revolution to overturn the status quo. 1979 was a turning point, a year etched in history, marking a significant shift in global politics and the dynamics of the Middle East. It was a period of upheaval, where established alliances crumbled and new, often volatile relationships were forged. The Iranian Revolution, a seismic event, toppled the Shah, a long-standing figure in the region. His departure marked the end of an era and the beginning of a new, uncertain chapter for Iran and the wider world. And in his place, Ayatollah Khomeini, a charismatic and controversial religious leader, was installed, ushering in a new era of Islamic governance. The newly formed Islamic Republic swiftly severed diplomatic ties with Israel, signaling a dramatic change in Iran's foreign policy and its stance on regional issues. In a symbolic gesture of solidarity, the Iranian government handed its embassy in Tehran to the PLO, the Palestinian Liberation Organization, further solidifying its commitment to the Palestinian cause. Israel was now increasingly portrayed as the Little Satan, a term that encapsulated the growing animosity and ideological opposition towards the Jewish state. It was now seen as an enemy of Islam, a perception fueled by religious and political rhetoric that resonated deeply within Iran and across the Muslim world. And it was also viewed as a symbol of Western imperialism, a representation of foreign influence and control that was vehemently rejected by the new Iranian regime. Consequently, Iran's foreign policy underwent a fundamental shift, prioritizing support for the Palestinian cause and actively championing their struggle against Israel. The revolutionary government also embarked on a mission of exporting its revolution, seeking to inspire and support similar movements across the region and beyond. The Periphery Doctrine, a strategic alliance aimed at containing Arab nationalism, effectively collapsed under the weight of these changes. And as a result, Israel lost a key ally in the region, a partnership that had been crucial for its security and strategic interests. Instead, it gained a powerful adversary, a nation with the resources and the will to challenge its dominance and influence in the Middle East. Iran began building a sophisticated network of proxies, supporting militant groups and organizations across the region. These proxies served as a means to challenge Israel directly, engaging in asymmetric warfare and undermining its security. The revolution's impact was immediate and profound, reshaping the political landscape and setting the stage for future conflicts. It effectively redrew the region's strategic map, creating new power dynamics and alliances that continue to shape the Middle East today. An era of cooperation ended abruptly, and a new era of confrontation and rivalry began, marked by mistrust and escalating tensions. Ultimately, the events of 1979 irrevocably set the stage for decades of shadow warfare, proxy conflicts, and the looming threat of nuclear tension that continues to plague the region. After 1979, Israel and Iran's rivalry became a shadow war, fought through proxies, cyber attacks, and assassinations. Lebanon was the first battleground. Iran's Revolutionary Guard helped create Hezbollah, a powerful force against Israel. Hezbollah became Iran's main proxy, waging guerrilla war on Israel's northern border. The conflict soon expanded into cyberspace, with Israel targeting Iran's nuclear facilities and Iran retaliating against Israeli infrastructure. Targeted assassinations of Iranian scientists and plots against Israelis abroad deepened mistrust. Each covert action escalated the cycle of retaliation. The shadow war allowed both sides to inflict damage without open warfare, but it also made the conflict more unpredictable and dangerous. The region remained on edge, with every attack risking wider escalation. The past decade saw the Israel-Iran conflict escalate into direct, though limited, confrontations. The Syrian civil war gave Iran a foothold near Israel, prompting Israeli airstrikes on Iranian targets in Syria. The skies over Syria became a battleground, with both sides testing each other's limits. The conflict also moved to the seas, with attacks on ships linked to both nations in the Gulf and Red Sea. These maritime clashes threatened global trade and raised the stakes. Recent years have seen direct drone and missile exchanges, breaking old taboos. The risk of miscalculation and all-out war is higher than ever. The shadow war is now fought in the open, with the whole region watching anxiously. The Israel-Iran conflict is far more than just a local dispute confined to their borders. It's a complex and deeply rooted issue with far-reaching consequences. It's a central driver of Middle Eastern and global instability, influencing everything from energy prices to international security policies. The decisions made in Tehran and Jerusalem reverberate across the globe, What began as a pragmatic alliance, a relationship built on shared interests and mutual benefits, became a dangerous ideological rivalry after the Iranian Revolution in 1979. The revolution fundamentally altered the region's power dynamics. Proxy wars fought on multiple fronts, increasingly sophisticated cyber attacks targeting critical infrastructure and direct clashes in contested territories have brought the two nations to the very brink of open war, a scenario that analysts and diplomats around the world are working tirelessly to prevent. A full-scale conflict would devastate the region, leaving a trail of destruction and human suffering in its wake. It would disrupt global energy markets, sending shockwaves through the world economy, and inevitably draw in major world powers, escalating the conflict beyond the Middle East. Nuclear ambitions on both sides, whether real or perceived, add a terrifying dimension to this already volatile situation. Understanding this complex history, the motivations, and the potential consequences is absolutely crucial for policymakers and citizens alike. It reveals the deep-seated fears, the long-held grievances, and the underlying motivations behind today's often confusing and alarming headlines. The Israel-Iran story serves as a stark warning of how quickly alliances can crumble and turn to bitter enmity, and how deeply ingrained ideology can fuel seemingly endless conflict, perpetuating cycles of violence and mistrust for generations to come. Knowing this past, acknowledging the complexities and understanding the stakes is the first, and perhaps most important, step toward preventing a regional rivalry from spiraling into a global catastrophe.